Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Happy Thursday.
Hi.
How was everyone this week? Hey, Debbie, Geraldine. Anyone got any questions before we get started? I opened the chat so you can post them there. I'm super excited about today. Anyone, I know there was a couple people from the coaching community that did attend last Thursday's webinar. Anyone attend it last week? Y'all were just waiting for me to break it down, right? Yeah. Okay, so I honestly, to be honest, it was kind of new, but sometimes I feel like a broken record. And so to hear it from someone else was nice, other professionals in the industry. So we're going to go over everything. Let me know if there's any questions. So their webinar last week was called The Partial Truth About Partial Claims. But I didn't want to name that because I think there's a lot of people out there that don't understand the complexities of an FHA mortgage. And we're going to go through that. Like, it is crazy what's going on here. I know it's going on across the United States with these government loans. So, welcome to Mortgage Meltdown or Moment of Truth. Let me start by saying this isn't going to be super doom and gloom, okay? I don't think it's ever going to be like it was in 08 or 09, but there are some things, statistics and stuff that's going on that I feel is going to allow you to really help homeowners in your area, okay? So, why are you here? You're here because either you're a part of my coaching community or you're like, yep, I just love coming on Heather's trainings. But we're going to talk all about what went on last week. And I think a lot of professionals and even attorneys, they are confusing at times. And so while I understood everything from last week, there were some parts that I was like, yeah, okay, I don't think the everyday person may really understand that. So that's why I want to break it down for you guys, like just give you the easiest statistics and all that, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So hopefully this helps you better understand what is going on and really how you can position your business for what's to come. Like I said, it's not doom and gloom. It ain't going to be like it was in 08 or 09, 10, blah, blah, blah. But look, there's always going to be short sales going around. Real estate goes in cycles, okay? All right, let's get started. So what are we going to go over today? We're going to go over the delinquency trends, the forbearance program that was in place, the government loss mitt programs, and then the foreclosure outlook. So I really laid it out kind of how they did, just in a super easier way, okay? All right, delinquency trends. Did you guys know that consumer debt has reached a record high of $18 trillion? Now, the people that put this on, they're in the mortgage, it's MBA. I don't remember the exact name, but they're in like the default arena, right? So it's not just me pulling these numbers out of it is true stuff that they had explained last week. And so I want you to know all of that. Okay. So $18 trillion in consumer debt. Does that surprise you or not surprise you? So let's make this conversational. Chat about it. I think seeing the number for me, it was kind of like eye-opening, even though I knew the number was pretty high. I don't think I knew that it was 18 trillion. Now we're talking like, right now, okay? So $18 trillion in consumer debt. So credit card and auto loans, the delinquencies are higher than they were pre-COVID levels, okay? So we can't really blame much on COVID anymore, even though I do think there was a little bit of a trickle effect, in my opinion. But what happens first? Okay, so anyone, especially in my coaching community, we talk about this all the time, but what happens first in these trends? Yeah. Um, so everyone, well, not everyone, but what people, so when people get paid or they lose their jobs or whatever, what do they stop paying first? It's their credit cards. Then it's the auto loans. It's always been that way. And I've said this before, I'm a nerd. I love data. I track the data. I see it all the time. And these delinquencies are higher than pre-COVID levels. So what's going to happen next? It's going to be the mortgages for the people that truly can't afford it, or they're going to move towards a bankruptcy, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So right now, the mortgage delinquencies, they do remain low, but there's, in my opinion, and what they have said, there's a reasoning behind that. I'm sure some of you can guess, right? But it is expected to rise, okay, with unemployment. The MBA, so that was the data and stuff from last week. They're already showing rising rates of seriously delinquent loans. What are they? And I've been saying this for weeks, months now. It's the government loans. So quickly, pre-pandemic, they weren't giving loan mods, okay, for FHA mortgages. Yay. Hello. I don't know what your name is. It just says administrator. So if you want to say your name, that would be awesome. So pre-pandemic, when people called me 100% of the time, I knew it was a short sale. And if it was FHA, you really didn't have to explore the option of like a loan mod. I rarely saw FHA short sales where there was a loan mod because they were strict and they just weren't qualifying for them. Okay. Oh, hey, Olga. Post pandemic, I don't know what's going on at the government, and this is not political, but something is, okay? Because they were just giving these loan mods left and right to FHA mortgages. How do I know that? Well, because we go live in the coaching community every single week and we talk about data. And so here, I just spoke to someone yesterday that is about ready to get their third FHA loan mod, which is their third partial claim on the title. Like, it was only recently that I started to see like 2 partial claims. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is insane. So just keep that in mind, okay? So like I said, MBA data, it is showing rising rates of seriously delinquent loans, but those are more so on the government side, okay, those loans. Seriously delinquent rates are up 11% overall, okay, with all of them. But FHA is up 20% and VA is up 28%. Hey, Amanda. So, like, what do you think? Does that surprise you? Does it not? I know a lot of people, like literally almost every single person I'm speaking to right now, which is well over a dozen, they have FHA mortgages and it's not pretty. Definitely not pretty. Hey, Natasha. Yeah. Yep. 100% right, Debbie. All right. So the forbearance program. So we all know when COVID hit, they implemented all these forbearance plans, right? And a lot of people really had no idea what they were signing or getting themselves into, which is sad. I feel like the banks really did not explain it in terms that they should have. Also, there were people not making their mortgage payment when they actually could, which is also an issue. But less than 250,000 borrowers remain in forbearance programs. Okay. Almost none of the current forbearance cases are related to COVID. So that was actually, I mean, I wasn't sure, right? So I talk about the forbearance programs all the time. I'm still seeing them, but it's not necessarily related to, it's not related to COVID, right? So of the 8.6 million borrowers who entered forbearance, these are the statistics. 35% exited successfully with no loss mitigation needed. So what could have that been? You know, maybe they brought it current, paid it off, who knows? 45% exited with some form of loss mitigation. Okay. So a loan modification, something. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could do all this speculating and like honestly, I feel like I do know a lot, but it was really good to hear these people last week. I know Natasha was on, so Natasha, you can feel free to comment as well. But I took all of this data exactly from their presentation. Okay, number 4, approximately 68% of borrowers who received loss mitigation remain current on their loans for now, right? So what I'm seeing right now is there are a lot of people that have these loan mods, but they're still struggling financially with debt. Like obviously, what did we just say? You know, consumer debt is 18 trillion 18 trillion. I mean, that isn't even like a normal word to say, right? So they're current on their loss mitigation now, but it is possible that they're not making their credit cards or their auto loans. Everyone will do whatever, homeowners will do whatever they can to continue to make those payments on their mortgage. So these are the statistics as of, last week. Okay. So feel free to comment on this. All right. So the government loans. Let's talk about FHA. Woo. Hopefully by now, whether you are in my community or you attend these weekly, power hour sessions, that you have a good idea of FHA by now. Yeah, so Natasha, thank you. I didn't put everything in there because there was so much. I just really wanted to break down certain things so that you as a us as a community knows that like we're on the right track and we're here to dedicate our time to helping these homeowners. Or maybe you're still on the fence about joining us and you see this and you're like, yeah, I think I want to make that my niche. So very, very true. Yeah, it's we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. Okay, government loss mitigation programs. Let's talk about the FHA partial claims, which is funny because we just did an FHA partial claims training not too long ago in the Power Hour, right? We also did a real in-depth one, I think in February in the coaching community. So what is the partial claims program? So I'm going to break this down super easy. If you do not understand, please let me know. FHA is a government loan. So when someone stops making their mortgage payments, they will go to their bank and say, hey, I want to do a loan modification. Okay. And the bank, okay, their bank will say, yes, we are going to give you a loan modification. Okay. But we're going to send you paperwork. You have to get it notarized and send back to us. So what exactly are these homeowners notarizing? They have no clue. They absolutely have no clue. Basically what they're notarizing is the partial claim. So let's say that you owe $25,000 and you go to your mortgage company and you get that loan mod. That $25,000 is put on the title of your property as a partial claim. Okay. So whether you go to sell short or equity, that partial claim does have to be paid first. Okay. So, like I said, what we're seeing right now, I talked to someone yesterday who is about ready to get their third partial claim. And I know some of you have seen 4 and 5. It's really crazy. Um, the problem with the partial claims is it is eating away their equity. Say, data shows increasing equity risk in recent partial claims. 29% of those recent claims are underwater homes. Okay. 50% on homes with marginal equity. So they try to go get another loan mod, like, so then that's 79% of people that probably have to do a short sale because they kept doing these partial claims. And because they put it on as a second mortgage and it gets, well, partial claim, they put on the title as a partial claim, it has to get paid first. There's no equity. So that is where there's so much confusion with agents where I'm at. Like I have a short sale right now that's closing next week and we're on our second buyer because the first buyer's agent did not understand an FHA short sale. There's no credits. Well, there's no credits for any short sales. They have to net a certain percentage. You can't go back and ask the bank for a reduction or credit or any of that. So I was like, hey, let me walk you through how FHA works. I've done them before. I know I know how to do them. No. So the problem with the FHA partial claims is they're continuing to get more and more and more, and they're losing their equity, essentially, in easy terms. That is changing though. So what did they say, Natasha? I think it was, I'm not touching. Go ahead.
Yeah, right now I think they said that there wasn't any limit to the number of times, but there was a maximum total claim. Maximum was 30% of the total balance due or something along those lines. But they were talking about changing that to one loss mitigation option every 24 months. So that changes in the works.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I took away from it. So those changes, so if someone gets a loan mod, so I have a handful of people right now that have come from my flow chart that we send out that are FHA and they've gotten a loan mod. Guess what? I've explained to them these changes and that hey, this is what could come is that when you are struggling in 6 months, they're not going to give you another loan mod because it could now be 2 years. So by the time that they get to the 2-year point, they're going to go through the foreclosure process if they do stop making those payments, and they're going to be right where they left off. So I do think, even though I don't like to see families struggle, I think these changes that are coming, whatever they may be, and of course I will keep everyone updated when I hear, I think they're going to be good because these people are in serious denial and they really ultimately can't afford the house. They can't.
Right.
But they just continue to give these partial claims because that's what the government was saying like to do. So they need to move on. They need to start fresh. They need to get out of debt, and that's where like the bankruptcies probably are going to come in. So
Yeah, and those are the conversations I'm running into, is that a lot of people are just deciding to file bankruptcy because it's not just the house that they have financial issues with. It's their whole financial, there's credit card debt, there's cars, there's other things. And what I'm seeing more and more of are people taking out these home equity investment loans. So it's not a HELOC, and apparently this third party lender isn't concerned about the fact that they're behind on their mortgage. They're just leaving it as a silent second, but it's a personal loan, so they're not subject to the anti-deficiency statute that we have here. And it attaches to the person, not the property. So they're gonna, I guess they look at it as they're gonna be paid regardless. Um, so I just wondered if you're seeing anything like that, any creative loan products popping up in your area.
So Natasha's in Arizona, right?
Yep, yep.
I feel like maybe it starts out west and then it like moves this way. I'm in
Gotcha.
Illinois, if anyone doesn't know. My opinion is whenever there is a shift or the media is now starting to talk more about foreclosures, what's going to happen, especially like I posted something in the community the other day about, China and all these mortgage backed security loans, something I don't remember exactly. My brain is fried this week, but it's an issue. So I do think when there's a shift happening or the media starts talking about something, there is bad people that come out of the woodwork, so to speak, and start
Mm-hmm.
to take advantage of these homeowners. And that is why we as a community have to be in front of that to educate these homeowners. Like I'm in the process of texting all of these um, families right now, thanks to, I don't think Sharon's on this, but Sharon in the group, in the coaching community did a text kind of training. Anyways, and most of them have FHAs. And I'm just like, hey, can I send you my flow chart? This isn't about like, are you ready to sell now? It's about like, hey, here's these options. Be careful because there's a lot of bad people out there. And these homeowners want to hear exactly what they're telling them. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not good. And then they get themselves in a huge, huge pickle. So I see it. I saw it, right when the pandemic hit, eh, because I had someone that had an auction date and they thought that it sold back to the bank and someone came knocking on it did not sell, okay, because it was right at the start of the pandemic and they halted everything, right? And I was seeing this all the time. These people would go to their houses, knew that they had this auction, assumed they were not educated. They weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, hey, we know you got foreclosed on, but we purchased the house. We'll let you stay if you pay us rent. So then they're paying rent to these people. In reality, they still owned it. And I would continue to send letters to them every single week. And I had a couple of those. It was really, really
Oh
crazy
boy.
and sad. But you know what?
Yes,
And
indeed.
eventually they'll come back. But us as our community and the real estate agents that really want to take on this niche, we have to make that change. So we'll see what's to come, but I know we'll be ready for it, right?
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so foreclosure outlook. Um, Foreclosures, the starts, they are increasing after historically low levels. Well, there were historically low levels because of the pandemic, right? But foreclosures are starting to tick up again. Okay. So a foreclosure essentially doesn't start. So anyone that uses Property Radar, um, that's only people that have received or that an NOD, notice of default, has been filed or a Liz pendants, depending on your state. Okay. So that's when the foreclosure starts, when that has been filed. Okay. So inside of Property Radar, that doesn't include the people that are only 1 month behind, 2 months behind, 3 months behind. And so how do you get in front of those people? Well, you don't really know that those people are behind, but that's where community events, um, videos, social media, sharing it everywhere, or even the relationships with attorneys, especially bankruptcy, because they'll go to them and then you're partnered with them, right? So rising serious delinquencies will likely lead to more foreclosure activity. Now, this is what they have said, right? Um, government loss mitt programs will be crucial in determining this scale. So like what's going to happen exactly with the VA and the FHA? Well, we don't know yet. It's still kind of, going through. All right, so let's talk bankruptcy, right? You all know, or maybe you don't, bankruptcy is like my number one. I like to connect the auction date letters and flow charts that we send with the bankruptcy. Okay, it kind of goes hand in hand. But bankruptcy also historic lows, right? So I had a lunch on Monday with my bankruptcy attorney, and we keep in very, very good communication. And we have been saying for like literally the last 3 years, like, where are these people getting this money? Why aren't there more bankruptcies? We know America's in debt and the rise of the credit cards and auto loans. And it was like, right in that pandemic where, these credit card companies would just continue to give credit cards or the government was bailing them out. And so the expectation was, oh, I got to live this way because everything was so expensive. I got to have the best iPhone. I got to have this car. I'm going to go on this vacation. And so they just kept racking up the debt. Okay. So again, that is going to end and it will either lead to foreclosure or, the bankruptcy, which maybe some can keep the house. But bankruptcies are definitely going to tick up. And the reason why I know that is because of this. Consumer debt is so, so, so high, and credit card and auto loan delinquencies are high. So instead of those creditors contacting them and hounding you, they'll go to a bankruptcy attorney and get advice from them. And once you file a bankruptcy, they are not allowed to contact you. Okay. It's against the law. So, yeah. It is so, so, so great to have a relationship with a bankruptcy attorney. If you have not started that yet, do it now
I
because
need
it
to.
does
I
take
so need
time.
to. Okay.
Yes, do it now. Okay. Um, I know some of, or even divorce, Debbie, like Debbie, I know you love the divorce attorneys. Still a great attorney to connect with, because with people struggling financially, it does put a strain on marriages, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just love the bankruptcy, and we can now find all of that data in Property Radar. So just my thing. But I think bankruptcy, foreclosure defense, or divorce will be the top three attorneys that you should definitely start building relationships with. Um, I don't love any attorney group. I know, Debbie, but you're beginning to love them a little bit more now that you're with us, right? It's a good contact. But let me tell you what. Just like there's a lot of real estate agents that shouldn't be in this industry, it's the same thing for attorneys, right? You're not going to connect with every attorney. And there are some attorneys that I left meetings with or I did a deal with, and I was like, hell no, I am not doing another deal with that one. You're going to go through those, right? But you got to find the ones that you connect with that are on the same page as you are. And most of the time, that's small to medium sized firms.
Yeah, same thing with probate. Same thing. Now that you said that, I had one that I was like, never again. Never again.
In fact, like, I mean, even after you've worked with someone for so long, I mean, people go in different stages. So, I don't have a ton of bankruptcy attorneys. I have a good, like, I probably have a dozen that are aware of like, or we've done deals, but not all of them do full-blown bankruptcies all the time. But I know that if one came about, they would use me. Now I probably have, you know, 4 or 5 that are super, super, you know, give me all the business, right? That's all they do is bankruptcies. Stuart, you guys know I've talked about him. He's my number one. So much debt with the buy now, pay later concept. Yeah, it is like, and I come on to these Zooms every week, and I don't know, maybe you think I'm some crazy lady talking about like all this debt and what's to come or whatever. I know some of you don't think I'm crazy, but it
No.
was really, really good to hear those professionals last week speak, um, because they aren't just pulling these numbers out of anything like thin air. This is what it is, and something does eventually have to give. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be like it was in '08 or '09. But the fact that we're consumer debt is at an all-time high, as well as these credit card and auto loans, it doesn't help. So in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
area, BKs have been a big percentage with all pre-foreclosures. Yeah. So, and there's some areas, and like Stewart, he's well aware, like he has connections with bankruptcy attorneys all over the country. And so, he grew up in Ohio, so he's well aware of what's going on there, but he has family in Pennsylvania. I have family in Pennsylvania. So sometimes there are some areas where bankruptcies are more on the rise, but it's going to get worse. Any other comments on that or questions?
Has there been any updates to the VASP program that you're aware of for VA loans?
Yeah, so I have definitely done a lot of VA loans. It's the process is a little bit different than FHA. I do need to do a very detailed training on that inside of the group. So let me put that on my to-do list, Natasha. But when
Thank
they
you.
spoke last week, I know that there was some change, or they were going to in front of a judge on something. I thought it was May 1st, right?
Yeah, May 1st is when the VASP program, which is VA loans answer to the FHA partial claims, it seems, it's supposed to sunset today. And there wasn't a definite plan for VA loans moving forward. They were working on some things, but there wasn't anything set. So I wondered if that changed, if there was any news that came out that I just didn't see.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely been keeping an eye on everything. So essentially what they were saying last week is, so VASP stands for Veterans Affairs Servicing Purchase. So there
Hmm.
would be no new submissions accepted after May 1st. That's what they were saying. So
Right.
it looks like those submissions now are going to be denied. I don't know if they've extended that, but that's another thing. Like, so if you're in an area that has a lot of VAs, you're going to need to know, and you're going to need that support to get through those types of transactions. So I don't think there was, I don't, uh, let's just keep an eye on it, Natasha.
Okay.
But
Because FHA's program expires in September, I believe.
yeah, so
Right?
yeah, so VA is today May 1st?
Yeah, May 1st.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
I
I
know.
thought it was Friday. I don't know why. Okay, so today's May 1st, so it expires today, right? So,
Yes,
and then FHA is expiring in September. So just
correct.
keep that in mind, because, there's all these VAs and FHAs that got these programs, and now there's like at some point they had to end it, right? So it's ending. Not sure what's going to happen if U.S. Department of Veterans has ended the mortgage rescue program. So if, like I said, if you're in an area that, like for us right here, like we don't see a ton of VAs, Debbie's in my area, but if you are in an area of VAs, this is gonna really affect you.
Yeah, we do. We have Luke Air Force Base out here, and so yeah, we do see a good number of VAs. So, um, all right, yeah, I'll just we'll see how it goes, right?
Yeah,
We're
we'll
in
see
for
how it goes. Um, okay, so how can you help homeowners in your area? Exactly what we just talked about. Like, it is now, if this is your niche. So I know a majority of you guys are in my program already, right? So if you are still on the fence and you're looking, I'm encouraging you to come join us. There's really no commitment, but I truly believe that there's really not another place that is awesome as we are. And this is going to help you get set up. So like I know VA has expired today, but FHA is not till September. It's May. So you can certainly get up to speed and get consistent with sending out letters, building those relationships. So,
And
mandatory
the
military.
folks that have a VA loan, you know, that program isn't available to them, so they need education on what other options are available. You know, short sale, pre-foreclosure, what other options are available to them. So if you're not in a community, join, because we keep each other up to date. Right,
Yeah,
Heather?
and I think that's why I know Charles. Charles is in Chicagoland and he's been waiting very patiently, but we're pretty much closed here right now. Um, that's why I like the flow chart. So I've been texting a lot of people. So and a lot of them have FHA. So I don't see a ton of VAs here, but I'm, keeping it very genuine and authentic. It's not really about selling because I know these people are eventually going to need help, right? So I
Hmm.
like to I said, hey, is it okay if I send you the flow chart? And the flow chart would be great. So you could essentially update maybe one for VA, but um, it really gives the homeowners an option to, either read yes, I want to keep it, or no, I don't. It's really nice. So, um,
Got it.
anyways, so if you are interested in joining us, it's literally only 20 bucks a month. That includes access to our coaching community, which is this group right here. So, super big on communication. I love to communicate. So, hopefully, you don't get tired of me. But every single Monday, we do announcements. The reason why you would pay $20 to have access to us is the support, the collaboration. Us together created that flow chart that is now really effective for us. It goes out every single week. All of our past trainings, which is about 3 years, any current trainings, which right now we are going through bankruptcy. Kind of funny, right? It's like, oh my gosh, we started bankruptcy training in January. Now this is happening. So, all past trainings, like I said, and then upcoming trainings. Geraldine, oh, you're welcome, Geraldine.
Heather, can I jump in?
So there's that. Okay. And then if you decide you want to actually take on a certain area, so maybe you want to do auction, or maybe you want to do bankruptcy or pre-foreclosure or community events or building powerful relationships, there's courses available. So that's 20% off inside of the community once you're a member, and they're not expensive. Okay. Look, this isn't about, I do fine with my real estate. I want to help you guys. It's 20% off. You literally get everything that I've used. So auction, there's postcards, letters. The flow chart comes free in every single course. I don't recommend getting all 5 of them at the same time because the goal here is not to overwhelm you. The goal here is to get you set up in your area so you stand out from every other agent that is doing the same damn thing, right? That's not us. Don't do that. Get yourself set up with auctions, okay? Families in this stage, they need our help like yesterday. And there's ways to still get those auctions postponed. A lot of them are filing for bankruptcy. So that's why the auction and bankruptcy goes hand in hand. So I always recommend the bankruptcy and the auction. Get the other stuff later. Now, like I know Debbie loves the books, right? So we have the book options, which are really valuable resources. But again, we don't want you to get overwhelmed. A couple times a month, we do a new member orientation to really make sure you're started on the right foot. Okay, the next one is May 12th, I think, May 12th. But super simple, super easy. And like I said, 20% off, I think, so this one, I think it's $697 for the auction and bankruptcy. So 20% off is like $577. So literally takes you through step by step on how to do everything. My guess is come fall, because of everything that's going on, we will probably do another training on auction, but tie in some FHA and VA stuff. Because right now we're finishing up bankruptcy, which will probably be towards the end of June. and then we'll move to just kind of weekly check-ins, stories, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Any questions, anything you want me to see, comments? Otherwise, thanks for attending. Go ahead, Debbie.
I just wanted to say to the people that aren't already members, that and many of you have heard my story, so forgive me for repeating, but I have been doing short sales since 2009, and I always stalked Heather because she was one of my competitors, and I watched what she was doing and all that. And I've done hundreds of short sales, and when I found her books that she had this one going, and I was like, how do I get that book? So I just wanted to get the book and I couldn't get it. And so I had to join, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to suck it up and pay for the whole program. At the time, she wasn't giving pieces like this. But I just got to say that, for an investment, and I know a lot of people, money is tight, but for an investment of $20 a month, you get the flow chart, which I have found everybody that has called me has said, wow, this has been so helpful, because we give them a white paper on each of the things. I don't have a flow chart handy, but each of the items, there's a flow chart. I mean, there's a QR code, and they can jump on that and read the paper. And if they don't like reading, we've also each done a video about those items. So, for $20 a month, for a couple of months, and I don't know what they have to do to get the flow chart, but I think they have to buy one of the programs. But every single person that has called me that's wanted help, whether it's with their loan modification, or they want to stay in their home, or they want to stop whatever. I mean, I took this ideas to avoid foreclosure, because one guy that I've been working with for over almost a year wanted to do a bankruptcy after he's already been turned down for a loan modification and he has no income. And I said to him, don't spend any more money trying to beat a dead horse. I said, look at this. And I actually opened it to the page about chapter 7 and chapter 13 and said, okay, you don't qualify for a 13. Yes, you'll find some foreclosure attorney, as you already know, I don't love attorneys, that is going to charge you money to do a chapter 7 for you. But all that's going to do is give you this false sense of security, because they're gonna, not charge you any more money, but they're still gonna want your asset. And without going through Heather's courses, and like I said, I've done a couple hundred of these, I would not have known how to talk to him about not going through a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, that it was pointless for him, and he's only got his options of letting it go into foreclosure or selling it and getting the equity that he's got. I mean, and his whole family like loves me, because I am explaining to him things that none of them know and understand. So, $20 a month just to soak up this knowledge from, Natasha and Sharon and Bonnie and all these other people in the class besides awesome Heather here. It's worth it to try it. And I would encourage you to spend the money on the auction program, and because I'm using Property Radar, and I haven't jumped off the bridge to go find bankruptcy attorneys because I love them so much. But anyway, even with the auction stuff, I'm getting a lot of calls, and every person is so grateful and thanking me, and I'm helping them with the additional knowledge that nobody out there has for them. And you really are saving lives. Now, I went through a short sale many years ago, so I
Me
understand
too.
that. And
Right.
from a medical emergency, when I broke my ankle and the market had crashed, I crashed too. But also, I bought a house for my daughter and son-in-law. My son-in-law was in the military, 3 tours to Iraq. Thank you for your service. And when I went out to Colorado Springs and looked at the houses that were in foreclosure, it broke my heart. And then as I got to know the guys in the army, in his I don't know what it's called, platoon or whatever. I mean, these are young people that nobody explains to them what they're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
how it's going to affect the rest of their lives. And, you know, I have yet to meet anybody in this group that isn't so filled with compassion, that isn't really willing to help people. And so I invite you, if you're that type of person, you know, even as a trial, try for 20 bucks a month for a couple of months and go ahead and get the auction program. It's way going to be worth it to you to try it. And it's helped me. Like I said, I'm a know-it-all. I stalked Heather. I've done them for years, but I would have paid, I don't know if at the time I would have paid double what I paid for everything, but I think it's so worth it, what the benefit that I've gotten. And I'm on these classes almost every week when I can be in the group. And I hop on with you new guys just because, you know, she has this really incredible goal to help 10,000 families around the country avoid, you know, the foreclosure, whatever, of helping families. And so every month, which by the way, today's the day I get to report in how many people I helped last month, but every month we update the numbers of how many people are being helped. And I've watched those numbers every month go up. And it's like, you know what? Real estate is tough these days. And sometimes you do work and you don't get paid, but you know you've helped a family. And you know, that's the incredible thing. So I'll shut up now. Thanks for letting me talk.
Thanks,
That's beautiful.
Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah, I get somewhat emotional when I hear you guys say that because like this was ultimately my dream. And I have seen in my 18 years of doing this so much hardship with these homeowners. I mean, the things that I have seen, I've had like sellers on the run for murder. I've seen such horrible situations. And I had this dream like, okay, if I can help agents be the Heather Keller in their area, then we are going to make a powerful impact in the communities across the country. And so I've always really gone at it that angle. But look, I've struggled pretty much my whole life. Like my childhood was not that great. My husband and I were in bankruptcy. That's how I met my bankruptcy attorney, and he believed in me. So we can use our past struggles, like Debbie has had a short sale. I've gone through bankruptcy.
I've had a short sale. So
Natasha's
same.
had a short sale.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So share your story with these homeowners because whatever the struggle is, like I rarely tell people how I know Stuart, but this older lady had called off of the flow chart and she's like, okay, um, um, I need to file a bankruptcy. And I said, look, you got to go to Stuart and here's why. And I broke down and told her, and she was like, wow, like, so it is so powerful to use your experiences into this because they're just going to love you. They'll be forever grateful for everything that you have done. So maybe you haven't gone through a bankruptcy, but some of you have done short sales or been through other struggles, but or use our, hey, I'm a part of community and these are the types of people that are working all together. I think we're close to 3,000 now.
You're just bombarded. You know, you're in that situation. And this was in 2008, but you're in that situation. You're just bombarded with information. You don't know who to trust. You don't know,
No.
what's fact, what's fiction. So it's important to have people out there who are working in your corner and behaving as an advocate and educating you on what your options are. So, whoever's not part of the program, I encourage you to join in and be that for folks who are in that situation.
And okay, so Catherine's asking, does property radar include loan mods for properties? So um, the great thing about property radar is when we teach you how to set up your auction date list or your pre-foreclosure list or your bankruptcy list, you can monitor that list. So like, for example, this morning I got property radar alerts. And so I just take the time to go through that every day when I get them, right? But it's not gonna like alert you, hey, this person had a loan mod. Um, but you could go on to the transaction part and you can see that it was a partial claim that was recorded. So the great thing about Property Radar is like I can look up any single property in the whole entire United States. So Catherine, you come to me and you're like, hey, I have no clue what's going on with this property. Can you please look it up, Heather, and make me a video? Yes. I love to look at that kind of stuff. And so then I would be able to explain it. So, but you want to target auctions and ideally bankruptcy and property radar. I also had a divorce. Yeah, so divorce, bankruptcy, and foreclosure defense. So the funny thing about Debbie, she likes divorce. Me, I'm gonna stay away from the divorce ones. But I like foreclosure defense, and bankruptcy. So when I said I had about a dozen, it's a combo of those two. I can show you what a loan mod looks like. I mean, the property radar, if anyone cares. Let me look up a property. Anyone have a recent one they want to see, or I'll look up one of mine. Deb, you have to do attorneys. Just trust me, okay? All right, let's take a look at, I'll show you what I mean by a partial claim. Property radar, so it's $119 a month. I really don't have anything to do with that. I do have a special link that you can get a 5-day free trial. You're not required to use property radar, but it is well worth the investment because not only are you getting auction data, you can get pre-foreclosure, but right now we're doing bankruptcy, which is really, really huge. Okay.
It doesn't look like it's falling down at all.
I think this was the one I wanted to show you.
And for those that are worried about property radar, I called my title company and they gave me, like, I could run lists every month or week or whatever to get people. And then I finally, once I was comfortable with what I was doing, then I switched over to property radar. So you
Yeah,
don't
so
right
I
away.
mean, I've been doing these for, it's been 18 years. I don't know where the time went, but Catherine, I literally used every single system out there. And I'm not saying you have to stop using the system that you're using, but I would encourage you to look at property radar. The reason why I like property radar is because it's simple. It's easy to set up the lists. We do step-by-step videos, and then I can log in anytime you have a question about a property and make you a video. So majority of the people in our group do use it. It's just an easy system. I try to keep things as easy as possible. Okay, so this person, so remember when I posted, yeah, the support is great, and they do have dedicated reps for us, and so they come in. They did a training for us on the bankruptcy data in January, which is a recording inside of the group. This was the guy that I had posted about yesterday in the coaching community that I knew that popped up. I don't know if you guys saw that, but okay, so this is what I mean by a partial claim. So, okay, you see this? So we know Freedom Mortgage is typically government, okay? So this is what I mean for this. This right here is a partial claim. So when I'm researching this, so when I click on it, it says cash out. I don't know why it says that, just because I guess, I don't know. But he was behind $49,908. Whew. So he got a partial claim. So not only does he owe his principal and interest, right? He probably had a negative escrow balance because of the way we pay taxes. And then this is the partial claim. Okay. So he's also gotten other loan mods too. But anyway, so here's the partial claim. So he's getting ready to get another partial claim. He was filed in January. So he probably was at that time at least a few months behind because the process is so slow here in Illinois. So we know it's FHA. So I'm educating Eddie on what's going on. So he's well aware, right? So that's kind of what it looks like. I can look up another property if anyone has any. Otherwise, yeah. It's really easy to use. All right, any other questions? Let me post the link in case anyone is ready to join us. And I'll give you my email as well. Otherwise, in the coaching community, we'll be back next Tuesday for our bankruptcy. I think we're on module 11 or 12 for the lessons. And then in the free group, oh, I am going to do another training, and I'm going to make it a combo one. And it's going to be May 15th. I haven't put it out there yet, but it's going to be 4 steps. I forgot I named it. Let me tell you what it is. Hold on. It is called 4 steps to grow your business with short sales. Okay. So inside of that will essentially just kind of be 4 steps. The 4th step is going to be like delegation. So a lot of people in the group are like, hey, I'm ready. I need to delegate out these letters. How do I do that? And so I'll break down what my Bonnie does with that weekly. So eventually when you guys are ready, you can do that too. So that will be 2 weeks from today, and I will be sure to post about it so that way you can register. Any other questions? Thank you very much. And I will see all of you soon.
Good job.
Thank you.
Is there any way I can get a flow chart?
No, Charles. So
Man, I can't do nothing.
if Chicagoland ever opens up, I mean,
It's not. It's not. That's
well, right
too
now
good of
we
a
have
territory.
right now we have like 4. So the flow chart is only available in the whatever course you purchase. So in
Yeah.
order to purchase the courses, you have to be a part of the community. So I know, Charles, you've been so patient. I'll let you know if it happens. It might.
It won't. It's too good of a territory.
Hi, Heather. So can
Hi.
Troy be used in any state? Is it universal?
Oh, is
So
that?
like, I'm sorry, my grandson.
Oh, that's okay. Tell me again, what was your question?
Can the flow chart be used in Texas also? Because I
Yes,
know.
the flow chart was created as a collaboration inside of the coaching community. Oh, he's so cute. Late last year. Okay. So we all worked on it together. Mainly the reason why we wanted that was to help families in denial, because there's a lot of people in denial. So the flow chart you can use no matter where you're at in the country. All of the options are going to be the same no matter where you're at. So you'll have to, when you get access to the flow chart, you will download all of the documents I created and change my information to yours. And then you'll save it and create a QR code. And then we have a training inside of the group just on this, okay? And then you do want to make a video of yourself explaining the option. Don't be scared. Post in the group if you want us to review it for you. Totally okay. But you do want to make a video of yourself, because some people will scan to read or some people will scan to watch, and it's really, really good for them to put a face with a name. Okay. It's not that hard. If you don't want to edit, once you have all the QR codes created, Geraldine, you can have my design coordinator create the flow chart for you. And that's an option. Or if you like Canva, you can do it inside of Canva. I don't like Canva. I just have him do everything.
Understood.
What?
I said understood. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
That you shared about the VA, you said it was expiring today. Where did you go to derive that information? I like to go read on it.
So that information was provided last week in the webinar that I attended.
Oh,
And
okay.
today's presentation that I just did was a recap of what I heard last week. But if you just go in and you can Google Google, I'll put it deadline or vast deadline, or you'll be able to find some information. But as far as I know, they did not extend it and it does expire today. So today's was FHA, and then, I'm sorry, today was VA, and then in September, it's going to be FHA, which to me is a bigger issue than the VA one.
So thank you. You guys have a great day.
Yes, I will see you next week. Anyone else have any other questions?
I'll email you, but thank you so much.
You're welcome. I will talk to everyone soon. Have a blessed day.
Bye-bye.